Welcome to the Victory Project podcast, undoing hopelessness with a godly purpose, love, and accountability. Since 2009, we've believed it's less about what we do and more about what we undo through education, entrepreneurship, and enlightenment. You're here because you believe a city on a hill cannot be hidden. Let's shine that light. Let's build victory together.
Welcome to the Victory Project podcast, episode 30. Wow. But today we have an awesome episode. We're continuing our 4-part series on clusters and consequences. We're doing a continuation of last week's discussion in our 4-part series, BP's Environmental Impact Statement. We're exploring how contemporary culture shapes our youth and society and how we can rise above its challenges. In this episode, we'll examine the abuse of prescription drugs, vaping, and what's the difference between a citizen and a snitch. But before we jump in, we'll discuss who we got here. I'll be your host, a senior program director, Keyshawn, at the high school campus. And across from me, we have Darion. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back. Episode 3 for me.
Yeah. And you guys are snowed in. So what does a teenager do when they're snowed in the house on a snow day? Nothing. And to my right, we've got Dezzmon. How you doing, Dez?
Pretty good. Glad to be back.
I'm hoping you have a little bit of a different answer to this question. Teenager on a snow day, right? No school. What are you doing?
Sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Told you.
Oh my gosh. And then right next to Dezzmon is Tim. How are you doing?
Doing pretty great, man. I can't complain. It's a very nice day.
And the big question, snow day, no school. What are you doing?
I'll probably have to say doing something extremely active, like
Okay.
sleeping.
There we go.
Not like shoveling out your mama's driveway,
I already did.
It's a
checking on your grandparents, something like that.
Turn on the cars enough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys did that. You just forgot to mention it on the podcast.
Of
sure.
course.
Right.
But we'll jump straight in. We'll start with the abuse of prescription drugs. Dayton was known as the overdose capital of the United States, leading the nation in deaths and addictions. Do you think the inner city does a good job educating on the possible dangers of prescription drugs?
So I think that the Dayton environment and schools don't educate the people on what will happen if they do come intact with illegal drugs or prescription drugs. I say they'll talk about what they can do and help, but they won't talk about how people will use them after they've been helping or if they're going to keep continuing to take them even though they don't need to. And it's they'll become addicted to it and it'll change them for the worse.
I think people are always told to be cautious of it, but they aren't really taught how to respond to it. And because of that kind of keeps drugs in the system, right? It keeps everybody kind of pent up and not caring about someone that's on drugs like fentanyl or crack. You hear so much about crack. You see crackheads on the street. You see fatheads on the street. You see people strung out, just drunk or just high or just on whatever substance they're on, and no one is I don't know, maybe I should do something in my community to change this. And if we respond to these situations with a better attitude, maybe people won't be drawn to drugs. Maybe people will be drawn to their community because everyone knows that if I do this drug, I'm basically compromising my life. And most people don't care because they feel as their life isn't very valuable and it's, very degrading. And it doesn't help that people at a better standing don't try to help that. If you were to teach people like the youth to respond to drugs differently, then maybe we could see a better change.
I'd say the inner city does a mild job at educating us. Because sure, they teach us beware of this drug and beware of this drug or this would happen, or beware of this drug or you'll become addicted. And some people they oh, okay, well, fentanyl or whatever is addictive or whatever. Some people take that and they decide to be okay, I don't care. I'm gonna go get addicted. I'm gonna try it out. They don't. I don't think they actually specify in great detail how this could affect your life, this could affect your future, this could affect where your money goes to, this could affect how your whole lifestyle could be changed for the worse and nothing but worse. But yeah, I don't think they do an amazing job at it. It could be better, but they do their fair share of just showing us what could happen. I guess.
The city of Dayton is known as the overdose capital of the United States. What is that? Is that a good title? How does that make you guys feel? Have you guys experienced anything like that?
Can I come back in? Now that I just actually heard that they're doing a not so good job. Because if it's the overdose capital, now it's not a great job. Because if those two words just like click, no, they're not doing a good job. No, they're not doing a good job at that point. But since it's the overdose capital, I feel like there needs to be like a change or a shift. And I believe it's coming. It's coming. I feel it, but it's coming slowly. And like it takes a village. It takes a community to like actually seek change and to actually want to pour into each other and to change others' perspectives on how you can actually like build yourself for something better or actually be seen as a role model for little Timmy who doesn't have a life at home and actually wants to, do better things, but is surrounded by this, epidemic of these drugs that are just laying at his easy disposal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think like it's kind of crazy to me to think like a city is like very much known for this drug use. Like it's known for it. And if I were like an outsider looking in, I would probably blame like people in charge. But it's not really people in charge. It's like it's the people that are affected by this epidemic, which is drugs. And I'm pretty sure, like I said before, if you choose to respond to it differently, it'll definitely work itself out. But it takes effort, it takes time, and it takes, a push. It takes people willing to change it. And maybe if everyone were to band together, everyone were to like change the ideas. I know I'm saying this right. And like, I haven't seen the worst of it, but I hear people and know people that say all the time, yeah, I've seen fent heads. I've seen crackheads everywhere, all around me all the time at my school. It's just a lot to take in. And if people were to just look after other people and not just themselves, maybe certain issues wouldn't exist the way they do.
So, for Dayton being known as the overdose capital of the U.S., I feel like there are two main people that are really at fault: the government officials, and then the citizens. I feel like the officials, they see and know what's going on with the drug overdose, and they don't really do anything to help it. And then the citizens, they just continue doing it, not trying to draw away from it or growing closer to it and getting more damage. And I feel like it's not really good for them, because if they keep doing this, then they're gonna go down a dark path, and it's gonna be really hard for them to try and want to get help. And I feel like people should be doing more to try and fix this problem, but people don't want to put in the effort or the time to help.
Yeah, all three you guys mentioned was community, which I think is a big key of it. But when you start to think, right, our culture is highlighting certain things that lead you on that path of addiction. However, once somebody becomes labeled an addict, how does the community view them?
Beneath them.
Outcasted.
Dangerous.
Yeah, not very good things, right?
Mhm.
But they're highlighting these things in our music and our movies and all these things that are highlighting this as a glorifying this culture that ends up leading you to be dangerous and outcast. And what was the third one?
I said beneath them.
Beneath them, right? All good things or bad
What
things, I should
bad,
say.
but-
Yeah. And then we'll go into this vaping, right? A statistic: 20% of all teens in Ohio have used a vape in the last 30 days. What negative impact does vaping have on youth?
So I'd say that once the youth starts vaping, it's just going to draw them into doing more and harder substances like smoking cigarettes, doing weed, or any other drugs out there. It's going to draw them even closer in, and they're going to keep doing it until they won't be able to no more. And they don't necessarily want to get the help either, because they know if they stop doing it, then it's like an itch that they'll never get to scratch again.
I think that like besides like building on addiction, we can also talk about like how they're gonna function as an adult, right? In workplaces, people are getting fired over drug use and substance abuse and like vaping and smoking when they're not supposed to. And I think it all starts with people blowing it off as not something that is like as big of a deal, because when you think about it, why would you want anybody like high all the time working for you, not doing their job correctly? Why would you want anybody to have to deal with the issues of being high all the time and the potential health hazards that it has? I mean, I say that, it sounds sappy and all, but at the same time, your health should come above most things in life, if you ask me. And I kind of see that like people don't really care too much about that, or at least the youth, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because when this snow blizzard wasn't hitting us when we was back in school, I just came across kids who were just vaping like at the bus stop as soon as we got out of school. So that means that as soon as school let out, got their phone, left the school, they immediately was like, okay, we just gonna hit this. Like we're just gonna do this. We're gonna indulge in this. And it's crazy how quickly they go to it like hastily. Like, so this just shows me like, hey, if this just keeps going and keep getting passed down, or if it just continues furthermore, we just gonna have some young robots who just like, well, not even robots, but like people who just can't function on their own, who needs something like that's so futile just to make them feel good. And the vape or whatever you call it, the chemicals that make you feel dopamine or whatever, is just for the meantime. They're just chasing after a desire that is just going to be unfulfilled. And they're going to keep chasing something until they're empty inside. And then everybody's just going to be a bunch of just rats roaming around Earth, just scurrying to whatever they want to get to and hoping they find it. When really they just need enlightenment, when really they just need wisdom, when really they just need guidance, when really they just need a happy home or a community of people who actually want to listen to what they have to say, instead of just having to go to a vape or go to this or go to that, which doesn't actually better you, but actually just slows you down as a human being, slowing you down with your brain process. You're not actually going nowhere when you vape. It's just like gum. Like you're just gonna just keep doing it, and you're not even noticing that you're doing it. It's really bad. But yeah, that's all I had to say.
I have kind of something to add to that. As far as, temporary pleasures, it builds an ideology that temporary pleasures versus, joy, true joy, happiness and what you do, and happiness and, the people around you, that kind of gets thrown aside, and people don't care about that anymore, right? They're just all in it for the thrill, or it's just something to take their mind off of like just the life that they live, or like the issues that they face. And like people don't want to work for anything
No.
anymore.
No.
They just want like a
They
quick
want
and
a
easy.
quick fix. That's literally what a vaping is. That's
all
what
they
it is to them. Crazy.
Yeah, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but based off Darion's story, this is something you guys see other youth around your age partaking in regularly, right?
Yeah.
My own eyes.
And it get you guys thinking a little bit. If a peer offered something like this to you guys and you guys said no, how would you guys be viewed by your peers? And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
With me, I'm just odd, right? If I say no to something, it's just no. I let everyone know like what I stand for, what I don't.
Just about to
Right.
say that.
Like, and that's just how it is, at least for me.
Yeah, cause me, like ever since I came to Christ, like everything like has been like straightforward. Like I have my morals set. Like I have my morals like in check. Everything in check. So when somebody comes and offers me like, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? I just simply tell them, no, that's not what I do, or that's not what I want to indulge in. I know that's not good for me. I know that's not this.
It's all about a choice. I'm not gonna force anyone. They won't force me.
Right? Because that ain't love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'd say if like someone's offering me like a vape or some type of drug, I'm flat out gonna tell them no, because like I don't want to associate or affiliate with anything like that, because I know what it can and would do to me if I were to get into that type of stuff. And then the peers around me who do it, they know what could happen to them if they keep doing it, and they keep doing it either anyway because they don't care. But then the people who say no to it, they get viewed as like lame, a person who doesn't, like a buzzkill, someone who doesn't do fun stuff. And they get labeled as like somewhat a bad person for not doing the things that their other friends do. I feel like that's not fair, because you can't get mad at someone if they don't want to do the bad things that you're doing, because they know what can happen and they're not okay with that happening to them.
Yeah. You guys make it sound really, really, really easy. I think about our listeners may be going through it a little bit different, so just kind of widen the scope.
Yeah.
Is temptation always something that's easy to say no to?
Oh,
and
absolutely no.
And what are some things you guys do when it is difficult to still say no? right? Because you guys are like, man, vapes, no, we smack those kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But something you guys might struggle with something else.
Mm-hmm.
How do you overcome that when it's not always easy to say no to that temptation?
Okay, so look, sometimes I always wanted a girlfriend. I always wanted to have a girl by me or whatever. So I tend to have lustful eyes sometimes. And so that's a good struggle that I go through. When I find myself in like, look at this girl or look at that girl, or, indulging this, indulging that, and it keeps like badgering my mindset. It sounds so easy, but it's not. I got a journal and I got a Bible, and I just journal down like my thoughts and feelings, and then it's a letter I'm writing to Christ, like kind of a letter, like kind of like psalm or something. And I'm like I like poetry a little bit. I like rapping too, and so I write stuff that I'm feeling, and then I just pray it off, or I go into my playlist and I just turn it on max volume, and it's good music for me, good music for my health, my wealth, my spirit, and all that. Now it's not that easy, it's not that simple. So it takes some time, but I try to exercise too. I try to exercise and just like set my mind on stuff that's like not so finite, if you will. That's what I
Yeah.
do.
And for me, I probably have to say, like, I just think, like, what would God do in this situation?
That too.
Right? That's what I would do. Well, at least that's what I do when I'm in, like, a situation where I'm tempted to do something. And, like, for me, I try to go in to everything with the ideology that, like, right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mhm.
So if something's wrong, you just flat out just say no to it. Just immediately. You know what's right and you know what's wrong as long as you have a good moral foundation.
Can I add something to that too?
Yeah, sure.
I try to always conform to this mindset of like, okay, you're a follower of Christ, you have a relationship with him. What would he think of you if you were thinking about this, or if you did this, or if you indulged in this action, or if you said this and reacted a certain way to this person? How would he feel? Because everything you do, it damages your relationship with him if you're really like about it with him. So I go in with that mindset, and even if I fail, I know with God, graces abound. So I just, I take my faults, I fall, and I get back up, and I just reset. Every day is a reset button. And then I just think about everything. How could this like affect my relationship? Would it be good? Would it be bad? How would Jesus do this in this situation? Or how would I come out victorious if I do this? That's what I do.
They just said all.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm an overthinker.
Yeah. So, but for me, when I get a tempted thought, I turn on my playlist, of course. I'll either get on my sketchbook or get one of my notepads and write down some stuff, write how I'm feeling. And then it's like kind of something I do and used to do. I write out my feelings, rip it out, and then burn it, because my sister taught me that. And she told me if I'm always feeling down, then write about it and get rid of it. That way the feelings will go away. And so I've been doing that, and it's honestly helping me. And I feel like it can help other people too if they know how to do it and do it correctly without just setting fire to things. And then also, it's like the specific music I listen to. It's like the Christian rap, the gospel, and then some country music. It's like when I listen to most of that, it calms my mind and it makes me go back to normal, how I feel on a daily basis.
Oh, that's awesome. Then we'll go into our final topic of today's episode, a citizen versus snitch. For those listening, I'll explain a little bit. A citizen is a member of the community that does the right thing when seeing something wrong is taking place. However, a snitch is someone partaking in illegal activities and tells to get a shorter sentence or benefit. Oftentimes, these are interchangeable in culture. If you tell on anybody or tell anything, they get labeled a snitch. However, that's not true. Over the last few episodes, we talked about some pretty heavy topics, and most of us were saying how important the community is. Why do you guys think more of the community doesn't stand up and are good citizens?
It's all about like the beliefs of the community, because there are some communities that are really good communities that benefit each other on a daily basis, and they're often the communities that are the most well kept, sometimes even better looking than others. But that's mostly because they learn to come together. I'm not saying it's a class thing. I'm saying it's more, a derivative thing. Like if let's say one community, the economy there is built up on drug dealing, stealing, and robbery, theft, murder, you name it, and that's kind of how that whole area is built up off of. And we have another community where the neighbors themselves normally evaluate the people that go there based not on prejudice, but how they help the community rather than bring it down. Because it always starts with one individual, and it's kind of like a yeast thing with bread, right? Just a little bit of bad yeast can ruin the entire batch. And to think that way, I'm pretty sure we'll push an idea that if we can all be the good yeast and we can get rid of all the bad yeast before they get into the community, we don't have to throw out the entire batch. At least that's just how I think.
It's crazy because certain communities don't have a sense of togetherness because they don't believe in that. They believe in I probably don't even want to be in this place anyway, and I don't even like the people near me from the jump. And they already have a preconceived notion of how that community is, and they already make a decision whether they're gonna be open to talking to people or not. They just decide, hey, I'm gonna distance myself. I want to do what I want to do, and that's probably just get money, get a job, do this and this and that, and move to somewhere better. They're not focused on any sort of community. But if you're in a good, righteous community, you would immediately peep the bad apples or peep the bad that comes in, and you would immediately get that out of your neighborhood. That's what a good citizen is. But in terms, I say a snitch, they're just self-centered. They want their cake and eat it too, kind of like they dibble and dabble into whatever they do that's wrong. And then if they get caught while doing it, they want to be free from it. Like they want to they want the best of both worlds. They want to do bad and get away with it. So those guys beware of them.
I'd say it's kind of like status built. So like you were saying, if there's a good community and if they see one of the neighbors that are good and they see they're doing something bad and they don't want to tell them because they know what type of connections they have or what they can do to them if they found out it was you being a good citizen and letting people know what's happening, people would be scared to do that. And I feel like you should be cautious of what you do because it could come back and bite you. But then also you need to stand straight, stand tall, because you know what's right and what's wrong. And if you choose to sit and let someone sit in the bad when you had an option to get them help, then it's on you and it's on them because they also had the option to stop and get help and go to the police, turn themselves in. But they're
more blind.
Yeah, they're too blind and they're too proud to do that.
Yeah, that goes right into our I think the next question before I'll share a quote in a Bible verse that I always enjoy. The first one is a quote by Plato. You guys know who Plato is?
Yeah.
All right. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Then we have James 4:17. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is a sin. But we're talking about doing the right thing. When you see something that's kind of heading the wrong way, still doing the right thing, especially as young men and as future men, right? Most time why people don't tell and be a good citizen is normally fear-driven. So keeping that in mind, how can young people stand up for all the terrible things they're seeing in the community, but still stand up?
That's a heavy task.
I'd say it all stems with the choice. If you truly want to be different, and if you want to be yourself, it normally stems from making the choice. But it's all about whether or not you choose the good or evil. It's kind of like the conflict, with flesh and the spirit. You battle your spirit by choosing not to endorse yourself with worldly pleasures. And sometimes you fall, but you still get up. And understanding that fact kind of makes that choice a lot easier.
It comes definitely from choice, and you gotta actually take time to choose what side you stand for. And you can't just settle for the middle because that's a problem that I have too. I tend to have a problem where I see all these evil deeds done and I know I can do something about it, but I'm too frightened. I'd be too frightened because I care about opinions. I care about how I'm looking, or I care about what they'll say about me. I tend to care about outside opinions rather me choosing to just follow good like I'm supposed to and not just let the evil just swarm around. Tend to it takes over my mind a little bit. So I'd say for some advice, just try to follow people who do what you see is righteous, is good, and try to build a bond with them and just go out there and basically like discipleship. Basically go out there and create good environments, good societies, good friends, and build on top of that. That's what I say.
So if a young person who's seeing bad stuff and wants to do the right thing and get help for the people, I feel like the best way to approach that is to have that drive to want to help and to want to get rid of the bad stuff that is happening. And then also like what they said about choice, you have to make the right choice, whether you want to see the people around you dig themselves into a deep hole, basically digging their own grave, or if you want to help them get back up into the light and doing the right thing. And so if you personally are around it and you like don't do it, you might get rolled out, but that's all right. Cause if it's a risk you're willing to take, then you'll try and get the people around you help. And if not, then you're just going to sit there and you might end up being exactly like them.
Yeah. We'll close with our final question and we'll go around. We'll start with Dezzmon, then we'll just go around. You guys are put in an environment you necessarily didn't choose, but we're in it, right? An environment, a community that struggles with vaping, abuse of prescription drugs, and also this idea of having fear when telling or seeing the things that are evil and refusing to tell others. How do we have victory over these things? We can't choose necessarily where we grew up or where we are right now, but we still have the choice to have victory over it. And how do you guys, sharing with our listeners, how do we have victory over this?
I feel it teaches us a deeper version of from what's right and what's wrong. It lets us know what can happen if we do decide to pursue the things that are out in the streets and what are bad for you. But then it tells you what you need to do as a person and as a gentleman to grow up and to grow away from it. And I feel that's really good because not a lot of people have that opportunity to grow up with something like this. And it's a good thing that VP is here to help.
And I probably just say, just choose differently. I know it's going to be hard because like the situation I grew up in wasn't very great, right? It was, I'm not going to say like extremely challenging, but there were some obstacles. All it takes is a choice. You can be brought up in like a household where like, they're violent, they abuse each other. You can still wind up choosing to do the right thing because you see it. It's all about doing a self-reflection. It's all about coming to yourself and understanding that like I have to do the right thing because it's right. Not because I'm forced to, not because everyone is doing the wrong. So that kind of puts me in a position to do so. It's because it's right and I choose right. If you choose right because it is right, you will eventually learn how to mitigate the damage you take from obstacles you face in life, right? It always depends on whether or not you're choosing to like conform to those around you or if you choose to be better than others. Not realizing that is probably the first step to like being a better citizen, better man, better adult.
I say when you're in an environment where vaping, addiction, bad things that are just being marketed, put in your face right there at your disposal. You just gotta, like I said, Cass said, it's about choice. And you also just gotta envision where do you wanna be in life. Take the bad that you see and look at where it may lead, and then take the good that you don't see, but that you want. Look at the outcome of the good. Like if I see somebody who is vaping or has an addiction or is dealing with something or, you know what I'm saying? I see that they're not living as happy as they should or as they want to be. And I see that their future is it's a little shaky. The way they're living is a little shaky. I don't know if I want that or not. So I take a look at the good, which is, being sober, being sober-minded, choosing righteousness, like just living by great morals, principles, just choosing to do a job, being clean, not stealing, not lying. Just look at figures who do that and see what their outcome was, and then choose which way you want to go. Because if you choose this route, you're not going to be fulfilled in your spirit. But hey, those little itty bitty desires, there's something, that's all right. But over here, you can help nations, you can help build great people around you, you can help heal yourself from your generational trauma, you can help others by being an advocate for the good. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's all about choice, and it's all about where do you want to see yourself? Do you want to be on the bad side of history or the good side of history?
Wow, what a great episode. Dezzmon, Tim, Darion, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to check out any of our previous episodes, you can check us out on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Amazon, faithandfriendsradio.com, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Take care, and God bless.
Thanks for listening to the Victory Project podcast. If you believe in changing lives through faith, discipline, and opportunity, then you're in the right place. Keep showing up. Keep being the light. Until next time, remember, victory isn't just a destination. It's a way of life. Learn more at victoryproject.org.